what time you were at the event and what what you witnessed.
Yeah, we at a 9:07, we heard the gunshots. Um, and then at like 9:17, I think the guy was arrested.
Yeah, so we got to the event at 6:30. Everything was relatively normal. You know, we had dinner, we had heard some great speakers, some schmoozing, the usual. And then around nine, yeah, around mid, 9-ish, we heard gunshots outside. It was, I don't know the exact number of gunshots, but
Maybe 10 gunshots.
it was, yeah, it was rapid, break and then more gunshots. And then we saw someone that was clearly traumatized kind of run in to the building, or he was led in by the security guards.
Mhm.
And people in the museum were checking in on him. We thought, it
He
was
was
gun
an innocent
violence.
bystander, and he was just looking for a safe place to be and not be in the streets. That's what we all thought. And
People were bringing him water,
Mhm.
checking in on him as he was sitting on the bench. And then I think about,
he came over to where I was standing, and I was trying to comfort him, and my friend offers him some water, and he's like, "Yeah, that'll be great, actually." And I'm like, "So, like, welcome to the museum." And he's like, "Do you?" Sorry.
Oh, I want to get all this. Can you guys just adjust your camera a little so you're up higher, um, the other way? So
Down.
you're up. Yeah,
Okay.
that's great. That's great. Again, Katie, if you can just so you mentioned it. You got at 9:07 and you saw him get arrested at 9:17, or that's when the activity happened. But
Mhm.
can you take us through again? Like, did the suspect come? Did you say you gave the suspect water?
Yes. So we gave him water, and
Can I? They're not going to hear me ask you the question. So if you could say the guy who was, he ran in, and we didn't know
Can we
who,
say his name? Or the
I would just say the suspect.
yeah, yeah. If
That's
you can
safe
just
for him.
say, they're not going to hear me say the suspect, but if you can say, if you can answer, like what you actually witnessed and
Sure.
how it played out.
Okay, so the suspect came over to where I was, and we offered him water, and he was like, "Yeah, that'll be great, actually." And I was like, "So, like, welcome to this museum," because we were just at a museum for an event. And he's like, "What kind of museum is this?" And I told him it's Jewish museum. And he asked me, "Do you think that's why they did this?" Like, referring to the gunshots that we had heard. And I was like, "Well, maybe, but I don't think so. I hope not." And that's when he reaches into his backpack and pulls out a keffiyeh and says, "I did it. I did this for Gaza, free Palestine," and just starts shouting, "Free, free Palestine, Antifada revolution," and all of these kind of like chants that we've heard so many times. And the police come in and arrest him, and he's leaving the building shouting, "Free Palestine."
And Katie, can you again just, like, you handed this person water?
My friend Jojo handed him water.
Without knowing at all what he was responsible for. None
Right.
of us had any idea. I
We
mean,
didn't
I
understand.
didn't connect the dots. When you hear gunshots in DC, it happens, right? There's violence in DC. But I think connecting the dots and not realizing the gunshots were his gunshots, and they were really an execution of two innocent people who were attending an event on humanitarian aid. And that's what kind of makes this so sinister and disgusting and hateful. And I think we're all still in a bit of shock. I just saw the picture of the face or of one of the victims, and I saw him. I was interacting with him today, and he's gone. And that is a horrible, horrible thing. And also, I mean, we were next to the killer. I mean,
We talked
with
to
the
him.
suspect, you're talking with him. I was worried for him, thinking, he might have experienced something, and little did we know he was the one behind it. As soon as he did pull out the keffiyeh and started his chants, it started to dawn on me, and um, I mean, I'm just lucky he didn't have a gun. I mean, he was in the room with us for a good 10 minutes. I don't know the exact time. I don't want people to, question the story because the timing isn't right. We're still in trauma here, but
The timestamps.
yeah, I could look at the timestamps of the photos and the videos and get the evidence, obviously, but we're trying to piece it together in our heads because it's pretty surreal.
So Yoni, can you just take us through like your interaction, or can you tell us how the suspect entered, how you
Sure.
interacted with him?
Yeah, well, I remember, I don't remember the exact entrance he came in, but I believe it was the side entrance. Came in the front. I don't want to talk about those details because it's muddy in my head, but I do remember him walking in. I do remember him kind of being disheveled and everybody was kind of,
He was like covered in rain because it was raining, and he just looked like frightened.
he looked frightened, and I guess all of us were frightened because we're like, did somebody get shot outside? Like, what's going on? I understand that some people knew what was happening. Like, there was somebody that ran outside, and I think he dislocated his shoulder, literally trying to say, like, we need to call the police, call 911, call 911. He saw bodies outside, but basically everybody had a different story because we're all in the museum. We're in different locations in the museum, and some people know facts that other people don't. In any case, he's in the museum for about 10 minutes. What I remember distinctly is him waiting for the cops to come. The cops walk in. He says, I did this, sir, I'm unarmed. He pulls out his red keffiyeh, which is not a Palestinian keffiyeh, ironically, and just starts yelling Free Palestine and Intifada revolution. There's only one solution. Yeah, and I think it's pretty scary to think that we kind of were comforting a murderer, let alone giving him water and showing empathy. I think we're humans, and I think we came from a good place, but I feel pretty disgusted.
It sounds like a terrifying situation. So when the suspect, you all heard the gunshots outside,
Yeah.
and after you all heard the gunshots, what was the mood inside the museum?
Panic and scared.
Yeah, I mean, they were locking all the doors, all the blinds were closed. They moved all the coat racks and drinks and everything to the other side of the room, away from the front entrance. I believe the shootings happened right outside the front entrance on the corner of the street. So not only did they not want us to exit from the entrance, but they pushed everybody in the back. At first, I didn't really know what was happening. I kind of just thought it's, just the usual, it's a protester, but then SWAT team came in and people with really heavy machine guns and bulletproof jackets. And then you had detectives, and then you had more cops, and it's like, oh, this is really serious.
They interviewed all of us.
Yeah, so we all got interviewed. We were sat in a room. Everybody had a interview exchange with the detectives. We actually had a friend who was looking at the video footage. She was helping the museum staff and she was helping the museum staff pull up the footage, and unfortunately, she saw some pretty gruesome things as well. And that, we found that out after we gave our testimonies, so that didn't, change what we thought at all. But it's and then just to see the pictures, or the picture of one of the people, it's heartbreaking. Yeah, I'm sorry. We're not the most.
No, you're giving good information and good detail, and we really appreciate you guys doing it so late. Katie, can you again just, there was the 10 minutes that he was in there. Can you talk to us, or tell us how he came to interact with you all, and like what did he look like? Was he disheveled? Like, when he approached your table and you or your friend offered to him water and empathy, like what did he seem like? What can you just tell us? This person came to us, and what?
He seemed like he was someone who was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I would try to offer comfort to anyone that's in that kind of situation. And we were all just kind of unsure of what was going on. We thought that he was just an innocent bystander. Come to find out, he was actually the perpetrator.
Yeah,
And I think that he was really waiting for the police to show up to announce it pridefully and take credit for this crime that he's committed, and in the name of the Palestinian cause, which is strange because it doesn't really help anyone in Palestine. It's just murdered two people.
And one thing I want to point out, the irony of the whole situation is this event was about humanitarian aid. This event was, how can we bring aid into Gaza? How can we work through these roadblocks? How can we figure out the logistics and bring people from different faiths, different backgrounds to work together? And, we were trying to find solutions. And he, I guess, believed violence was the answer. And I think what's strange to me, the most strange thing to me is I don't know how he knew the two people that he was shooting worked for the Israeli embassy.
He must have done some research.
I don't know if he had some research. I don't know if he had some intel, but the two people he happened to murder happened to be working for the Israeli embassy. It seems a little too coincidental. I'm not, trying to make too many insinuations here, but it's just, somebody doesn't just come at the Jewish Capitol Museum at this time, knowing the events wrapping up at a certain time and then happening to
wait
for them to leave. It's just, yeah. And I think 24 hours before the American Jewish the Capitol Museum got a grant for improved security and this happens. I mean, it's really twisted and horrific, and violence is not the answer. It's not what we should be doing, and it's horrible. It's horrible.
And Yoni, can you tell us when the police came in, what was it like leading up to his arrest and him chanting, like so you all have this person near your table. What played out once the police came in and took him away? Either of you, go ahead, please.
I think you saw more because you were looking through the window.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at my phone. Let's see if I can get some of the pictures here. So he starts getting pulled away at 9:19 is when he starts chanting "Is Free Palestine." 9:19, they're checking him to see if he has any weapons, any bombs. I'm happy to send these videos to you as well. So I think I'm just trying to remember. Like, we were taking pictures at 9:16, and this is around the time where they started pushing everybody
we still
back.
Didn't understand what was going on.
We had no clue what was going on at this time.
We were-
So around 9:16, I guess, I was taking a picture of them behind a walk and repeat or step and repeat. And this is when the cops and the museum staff moved everybody towards the back of the room. And I think he was in that area too with us.
Yeah.
That's the terrifying part, is he was literally just sitting and hanging out with everybody. And I don't really think he was I mean, was he talking to people?
He wasn't like schmoozing.
He wasn't schmoozing. I mean,
But
he seemed like he was in shock. I mean, this guy just murdered two people. I can imagine you'd be in shock. And I'm not giving empathy. I'm just, I'm sure his nervous system was going nuts. But it is a little weird that he waited. He wanted the cops to come in, and then he wanted to say, "I did it." And then he started his chance.
He was very proud.
Yeah.
It sounds like chaos. Is there anything from leading, like the couple that were shot, they were leaving the event?
Yeah.
And how many people were still at the inside when this was going down, would you say?
Maybe 30.
Yeah, 30, 40-ish. I mean,
including like the employees.
Yeah, including the museum employees, the security guards. I mean, it was still an event. There was still dessert on the tables. I mean, we were still talking and discussing and just coordinating rides. And I think I keep telling Katie and my friends this, but like, I was going to call an Uber around the time those gunshots were fired. Like, I was very close to leaving. Thank God I didn't. And may the victims' memories be a blessing. It's truly horrific. And I think we were all just, I don't know about the rest of the people, but I just thought this is just violence. You know, this is DC drive-by, or this is a gang or something related to DC. And then little did we know, like we were
Literally
harboring
to
the guy, and I was next
Yeah.
to him. I picked up his Giphy and tried to hand it back because I'm like, oh, he's just an innocent protester, and I had no clue. I think some other people did. I can be a little bit innocent sometimes, or ignorant, thinking the best of people, and in reality, yeah, that's I'm sorry we don't have more.
No,